kind of listen up right here, and we'll look at something. The cylinder sleeve, these are the spark plug size right here, McCormick Deering Type M. This one is the one that we have just removed. I just removed this one right here from this engine we're working on. The rod is stuck fast. Now that we've got it out on the beach, we can look at it and figure out what we're going to do. But we had to make a decision early on as not to ruin something. And that decision was, if you look down in this end of the cylinder, it's really clean in there. Really clean. And when I initially started to press this piston out of the cylinder, as I normally do from the front to the rear, you can see it moved about 1/4 of an inch right there, and it stopped. So at that point, and this one does have a real good oiler pipe boss, and as you can see, it don't have none. It's just no pitting whatsoever on this cylinder sleeve here. Quite unusual. Good sealing surface around that end, and where the O-ring went right there, there's no rust or pitting in that area. But from the part that stuck out in the rear of the cylinder is rusted really bad, as is the rod, the cap, and the inside of the cylinder in yonder. It's rusted really bad. So had I pressed this piston out this way in this direction, that I would have been pushing the piston over that rust, and the rust is thicker, and it could have cracked the cylinder or the piston or scarred them really bad. So what I did is I put the cylinder block, and the reason I'm not showing this and just talking about it is you can go back and check some of the other videos that's on my channel page there, and I've already done this stuff, and this part I didn't see any reason to repeat it because it's there. And this is just kind of some learning stuff. And this is pitted bad. So I needed to get this out of the engine in order to save everything in the best condition. So what I elected to do, now this right here is another one of them there examples of what you do today will save you a lot of time tomorrow. The setup I used for the standoff to put this block into the press over there, well, you can see about how long you can see about how long that is right there. That I cut a piece of pipe and put it on a 1/2 inch bolt. They're all equal, 4 of them in the head stud holes, to use as a standoff. And then when I set this upright in the press, then the cylinder sleeve can fall right out. This one I just now pressed it out, and I'm going to do another one over there, so we'll get a snapshot of it in the press, take these out, and then we'll dig out that, we'll get in yonder and dig out. That's the reason right there that you take these out, is to clean all of that crud that's on the bottom of them cylinders, and we'll get up in there and get that out. The other crankcase in the press right there, and as you can see, I got that porta pair going right down through yonder, and that there piece of and we'll look at that when we get it out on the workbench there, that piece of aluminum right there. We'll look at that up close. You've seen it before. And then you can also see the standoffs down there. Now the way that works is you put some pressure on that porta pair right there, and it pushes that cylinder sleeve out the front. Let's get that done. I started to take them standoff bolts and spacers out. Thought I might just show a picture right here of I just took this out of that press. This side here was pointing down in the press, and I had pushed that cylinder out there about an inch and a quarter, something like that. So what I do now is take them standoff bolts out and get that cylinder sleeve out. It's easy and good. Just get that done. Now that we've got that cylinder sleeve out of this block, you can see down in the bottom of that water hopper there, it's completely, I'm going to say that's probably, it's probably a fourth, a little more than 1/4 of the circle of where that cylinder sleeve would be at, that is completely caked up with dirt. And when they're like that, that causes the bottom of that sleeve, the bottom of your piston, to run hot. That's the reason for cleaning these out. The sleeve actually looks terrible now, but running it through the we'll clean that up. And the telltale sign is how good is the bore in there. Once we get that cleaned up, we'll know if that's usable or not. Made in the great state of Arkansas. Just another tool. Been needing it for some time now. So done already broke out that there Harbor Freight bandsaw right there. If you remember, I bought that back when things was, you know, kind of cheap. I don't even think you needed a coupon to get a discount when I bought that. But what I'm making here today, not to get off on no bandsaw side trip, is we're going to make a thing right there, a thingamajig, let's call it, to press them pistons out of them cylinders. One of these here McCormick Deering Type M. This one's 1.5 horsepower spark plug model. Let's get them ends trimmed off over there in the lathe where they be true and to size. Yeah, let's get on with the show. And what I needed to do is to come up with a good cylinder. And I got another one that I had to take out the same way, and it's really it's stuck. This piston on this one is stuck almost to the back, and that one right there is about let's see, it's right at 3 inches down that way, and this one's only about 1/8 of an inch down. So I need to push this piston out from the front. I need to go from here out that way. That one needs to go from here that way. This cylinder, it does have some really deep pitting, on this cylinder right here. And this right here is, most of this right here is caused from a crankcase that was all stopped up in the bottom, if I remember right, and I've took several of them apart, and that has proven to be the case, where that there's just so much, well, where the owner did not drain the water out of the hopper, and it just got contaminated so much in there that there was no water on the bottom. At some point it was just damp rust. So what I'll do on this one is I'll set it up in the press over there, and I'll press it out from here. That will be an easy way to remove this. And it's quite easy. This is really easy to bring these cylinder sleeves out of these M's. It's not hard at all. And this one, it's got some rust along this line right here. And most of the time, when you have a rust line on something like this, that's where the water level was at. Would have been like right there. So, or dirt or water level, and it would have rusted right along that line really bad on both sides. I will save this one right here, and even if they are pitted inside, too bad to use, then these can easily be sleeved. It's a normal machine shop operation to put a sleeve in a cylinder like this. It's really easy on these M's. It's kind of expensive work because of the size and specialized work that it is, the tooling. But it's quite salvageable to save these sleeves. The one of the things that on this one right here, you can see that new metal right there, and I did have to dress that down right there with the grinding wheel, and the reason for that is some of these rods have a very, it's where the casting line was at, and see this one right here, it's kind of proud, but this one right here, it was almost it wasn't an eighth, but it was close. And you can see on all of them there where they ground that off. All of these right here are ground flat. It's that parting line right there. And this one they just didn't grind it, so I did have to dress it down so that the sleeve, the part we just made over there, is this thing. And the reason that I made this, listen up now, the reason that I made this thing is you do not want to press on this rod right here. It's goes right there like that, and even with the bolts in the cap up there, it's still, I've got about 3/8 inch deep clearance up there. And I'll just put this in the press over there. We're not going to go over there and we're not going to film it. I'm just telling you about it. But I'll put this in the press and press that piston out through the bottom down here. From here on the East Coast of Arkansas, Shop Dog Sam.